chance to hear it, so let her tell it. People on the streets say Sabrina speaks. Tune into the show, she will let you know. Tell all your friends and family. Real talk is no joke. You get the news straight up from grassroots and concerns. You can hear with some people gone. So tell all your friends to tune in to the
Good evening,
show.
Cayman. I'm Sabrina Turner, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks, your daily dose of clarity, truth, and community insights. Every weekday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we're tackling the issues that affect you, from national headlines to grassroots concerns. Whether you're in traffic or winding down your day, this is your chance to hear it straight and speak your truth. So buckle up, Cayman. We're not holding back.
This is the show. We gotta let you know. Now we got to go.
And now here's Sabrina.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome, one and all. Yes, your eyes are not fooling you. It's Sabrina. Yes, same old. That's the beauty of being a woman of color. But yes, welcome to our family near and far. How are you? Hello. It's Friday. Aren't you excited? I am. Well, welcome one and all to another episode of Sabrina Speaks, Voices of the Islands, conversations for the world, and the podcast where voices rise, stories unfold, and inspiration takes center stage. It's so good to be back with you on this Friday as we usher in the weekend. And you know, we are so happy for our proud sponsor. Yes, this episode is actually proudly sponsored by Bridgepoint Immigration Consultants. Cayman, a new immigration consultancy, is on its way, opening its doors this May. And it's bringing with it something our community has been asking for. Yes, experience you can trust. With 25 years of hands-on expertise in local immigration trade and business licensing, British National Act, and the full spectrum of Cayman's immigration landscape, Bridgepoint is built on 3 pillars: honesty, integrity, and guidance you can rely on. So whether you're an employer navigating complex regulations, a family planning your future, or an individual trying to understand your next step, Bridgepoint Immigration Consulting is here to walk you through with that journey. Yes, your bridge, your advocate, your guide, coming soon. Yes, the content you're about to hear, including any discussions or opinions from myself, guests, and our participants, is intended solely for general informational and entertainment purposes. It's not a substitute for professional legal, medical, or financial advice. I encourage you to consult with a qualified professional for your specific concerns. Bridge Media Limited and all its affiliates disclaims all liability for any decisions or actions taken in reliance on the information presented. And yes, 345-936-8255 is the number to call. You can also WhatsApp us there as well to be a part of this live discussion. It's open mic Friday, but however, you know what we got into was some heavy hitting stuff yesterday in regards to the immigration regulations that is coming into effect. One of 4 regulations and 3 laws that is coming into force as of May 1st. And we ended last night's episode to be continued on the Cayman Protection Fees Regulations 2026, getting ready to go into another segment of that as well. So even though it's open mic, please feel free. You can chart the course if you want it to take it someplace else. That's totally up to you. If you want us to continue, just give me a thumbs up, continue, because we're going to be doing these over multiple series of things. And I feel that at the end of the day, it is worthwhile just getting it out because of its impacts, not only financially, but even charting your course moving forward, how you report. There's also time frames for which you could expect refunds back. These are in other pieces of legislation, of course. And there are also responsibilities of reporting cancellations, terminations of employment, and all that sort of stuff. And then I'm seeing the Department of Labor and Pension as well. Kudos to them, getting out some PR on the importance of providing an employee with a statement of working conditions. You know, we have covered that extensively here on this platform. The mere fact that they're actually doing it is just perfect timing with all of the reforms that are taking place. So no one should say that they don't know what's going on. So this particular piece that we intend to continue today, and of course the lines will remain open, the mic will be open, but I got to deliver. And until such time, I will continue on where we left off yesterday because of the mere fact that the piece of legislation is quite long. It's also very detailed. And by time we're done, I'm hoping that you'll have a better understanding than of most people navigating the system and what is in store. So I just want you to stick with me and as we go through this today, and just wrap it up, because you need to know, and I'm going to keep it real with all of you and keep you up to date. That is for sure. But before going in there, you know what we do here. We got to let you know how the weather is before I get to your comments. And yeah, so give me a thumbs up if you want me to continue, or you're going to be calling in. Just let me know. I'll be more than happy, but no comment, then we will roll with what I got. Let's take a look at the weather's forecast for this evening and some trajectory into the weekend as well. Compliments of our friends over there, the National Weather Service. The synopsis is calling for a few showers and possible tonight as weak instability lingers across the area. Now, light winds and seas are expected for the next 24 hours in association with a weakened pressure gradient over the Northwest Caribbean. Radar imagery shows some showers around the Cayman area moving northwest. The forecast for tonight is calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers. Temperatures will fall near the mid-70s. Winds will be south to southwest, 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Tomorrow, there will be partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of early morning showers, and temperatures will rise near the mid-80s, with a heat index of 92. Winds will be light and variable, and seas will be smooth with wave heights of less than 2 feet. There will be a low tide this evening at 11:26. Tomorrow, a high tide at 5:49 a.m. Sun will set this evening at 6:44, and sun will rise tomorrow at 6:01. The outlook is calling for continued light and variable winds, along with smooth seas into the new week as the high pressure system weakens over the Western Atlantic Ocean. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, and that is our weather forecast for this evening and sneak peek into what we can expect for the weekend. Hope you got great plans. Who's going to Capella? Who's going to whatever? I know there's a funeral, so whatever plans you have, just be safe. It is a Friday. We know there's excitement building in the air. Just do it safe and be conscious. Be careful on the road. Again, to all of our frontline staff, uniform services, we know, especially those guys behind the mics at 911. Yeah, it's a Friday night. We know that's international. Thank you for your service, nevertheless, and all of you guys, even in the healthcare industry as well. Now, let's see what's making the news headlines for this evening. Before we go into doing our birthday shout outs, I got a special friend that's celebrating a birthday today, and some I may have missed. Let's see what's happening and what made local news today right here on Sabrina Speaks. The Ministry of Health, Environment and Sustainability has provided an update on the independent diagnostic assessment of the Health Services Authority being carried out by KPMG. The review, which began in January, has completed key phases, including interviews, surveys, and preliminary analysis. More than 680 people contributed feedback across all 3 islands. Initial findings highlight areas such as governance, communication, and performance monitoring. A final report will be presented at a public press conference in June. The Cayman Islands government has begun transitioning the Public Health Unit from the Health Services Authority to the Ministry of Health, Environment, and Sustainability. Official says the move brings disease surveillances, vaccination programs, and national health data closer to policy making. Health Minister Catherine Ebanks-Wilkes says that the shift strengthens accountability and supports evidence-based decisions. Services such as vaccinations and disease tackling will continue as normal, with a phased transition to avoid any disruption. Government has released the summary of the cabinet meeting held on April 15th. Cabinet confirmed several approvals granted by circulation, including funding transfers and drafting of a pilotage act. Ministers approved drafting instructions for amendments to the Wills Act and new litter regulations, noted the Ponciana Rehabilitation Centre's annual report, and supported an MOU with the UK Department of Transport. Cabinet also approved protected area designations, immigration-related regulations, and new appointments across multiple boards. Finance Minister Ralston Anglin and his senior team met this month with representatives from the CREF SPC, the region's parametric insurance facility, during the organization's board meetings that were held right here in the Cayman Islands. Now, the introductory meeting reviewed the Cayman Islands tropical cyclone and earthquake policies and discussed areas of shared interest. CREF officials included Chairman Timothy Anthony and CEO Isaac Anthony. Cayman has been a CREF member since 2007, with coverage providing rapid liquidity after major disasters. In other local news this evening, Education Minister Ralston Anglin says government plans to raise the mandatory school leaving age from 16 to 18 in the coming years. Now, the proposal forms a part of wider efforts to strengthen educational outcomes and ensure students remain engaged in learning or training before entering the workforce. Officials say further details will be developed as policy work continues, with the change expected to be phased in over time. Also in local news, a man is expected to appear in court facing allegations of child sexual abuse dating back to 2013. Police say the charges relate to offenses involving a minor and were brought following a renewed investigation into historical reports. The accused has been formally charged and is scheduled to answer the allegations before the court. Official says no information details will be released at this stage to protect the identity and well-being of the victim. The Cayman Islands Regiment is recognizing several members for achievements outside their military service. Officials says the accomplishment highlights the discipline and resilience that reservists bring to both the regiment and their personal pursuits. Captain Ebanks completed foundational business communication course through the Civil Service College, while Trooper Roden secured first place in the Cayman Islands Powerlifting Championships. Now, Lance Corporal Ebanks Jr. earned a medal at a recent MMA competition in the United States, and Captain Gabe Rabis achieved his ILM Level 7 certificate. Turning our attention to regional news this evening, out of Jamaica. 2 people were killed and several others injured in a 2-vehicle crash along Bosco Bell Main Road in St. Mary this morning, according to Jamaica Gleaner. Police say both vehicles ran off the road and overturned on impact. Now, the deceased have been identified as 49-year-old Terrace Richards and 57-year-old Rudolph Cox, both from Jeffreytown and St. Mary. Investigations into the crash, what caused the crash, are ongoing. Turning our attention now to Barbados, church leaders in Barbados are calling for tougher penalties for murder and illegal firearms, according to Barbados Today. The National Network of Pastors and Combined Churches is proposing a 40-year prison sentence without parole for convicted murderers and at least 15 years for possession of illegal guns. Speaking at an urgent press conference, the pastors said Sunday's triple murder at Thunder Bay shows current penalties are no longer acting as deterrent and must be strengthened. And as we end today's news segment, we close off with our markets. Yes, U.S. markets closed mixed today, with the S&P 500 up 0.80% to 7,165.08, and the NASDAQ gained 1.63% to 24,836.60, while the Dow slipped 0.16% to 49,230.71. In commodities, Brent crude settled at US $105.77, up 0.67%, and WIT crude at US $94.69, down by $1.21%. Now gold edged higher to US $4,716 per ounce, while copper eased at 0.85%. Now, Caribbean exchanges reported no major movements in their latest updates, and the Cayman Islands Stock Exchange does not publish daily closings by the time we went live. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is our news, regional and local, here this evening. And hope everybody is looking and embracing the weekend with joy. I'm looking forward to it. Started a project on myself, and you can see I'm halfway there. Big shout outs to everyone who's coming in, taking their time. We appreciate you as you make your way on in here this evening. It's good to be back with you as we continue our breaking it down part of the show, where we actually keep it real and in layman's terms as much as we can with all that's happening here in the Cayman Islands. And you know what? Before I go into the community app updates and some birthday shout outs, let's hear a little message from the ESO. Stick with me.
The Economics and Statistics Office, ESO, is currently conducting the annual business surveys until June 12. The surveys collect information to answer questions like, how did the economy perform in 2025? In 2025, how much did foreign companies invest in the Cayman Islands? The surveys include all relevant entities that produce goods and services in the Cayman Islands. The surveys are confidential under the Statistics Act and are exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. Your response matters. Do your part. Fill out and return your survey forms to the ESO. Remember, better data, better decisions, better business. For assistance in filling out the forms or for more information, visit eso.ky or call 244-4676 or 244-4600.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Compliments. So when they actually come to your door, we're hoping that you, if you're selected, make sure that you do your best to cooperate, because without that, we are flying blind here in the Cayman Islands. Yeah, we are definitely flying blind. So that's it. And just in case you missed it, because you're wondering what the heck's going on, we'll pay it back again throughout this show, just to keep you all in the know. Let's send huge birthday and thank you for all of the love that you guys are sharing on the Sabrina Turner Community Activist Facebook page as we celebrate Cara. Yes, Cara celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, Cara. Lots of love coming your way. Maybe we can hook up a little later. Maybe, hint, hint, wink, wink. but from all of us here. And you can see by the outpouring support and love and well wishes being shared with you on our Facebook page. There's lots of love going around for you today, and wishing you all the best from all of us here on the Sabrina Speaks platform, and by extension, friends and family that are dear to us both. We wish you many, many, many more birthdays, and we're hoping that you're having a blast thus far. And of course, today's still a young girl. You can see I'm halfway ready. Happy birthday, you, my love. Yes, yes, yes. And to all of those persons who may be celebrating an anniversary, or other persons celebrating their birthday today, or you're just celebrating life, we do it with you as well. Connie Bonnie sharing the love. I see you through the corner of my eye, and I got those images as well. And yeah, for all of those as well who are mourning the loss of a loved one, our thoughts and prayers also go out to you during this difficult time. We know there's a lot of mixed emotions. There's a lot going on right now, but we just want you to know our thoughts and prayers are with you always as you navigate this time. And we also want to remind you, the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture and Heritage presenting this gospel concert that will take place on Saturday, May 2nd at the Agricultural Grounds, and that'll be from 6:30 until 10. We got into our featured headliner is Tasha Cobbs Leonard, and also folk singers will be joining as well. So this is a free event. You want to go, make sure you go to that. And also, look here. Guess what? 3, 4, 5 days here. That is Friday, the 1st of May. So you want to go out and you want to be dressed in, showing that Caymanian pride as we kick off our Heritage Month, the entire month of May. And it's still opportunity. Should there anybody want to make a part of this historic 2026, that the Cayman Islands has dedicated an entire month to acknowledge who we are, help us embrace who we are as we celebrate this. But you can also do this by showing your national pride and wear your Caymanian Proud shirt, Caymanian national dress, or red, blue, and white colors of the day, especially on Friday, the 1st of May. For my part, we would do it all month. And show up, share how you're going to show up, especially on this day. And you upload it, you tag at MYSCH_Cayman, and use the hashtag Cayman Proud, and then that signals to the ministry that you're participating. So let's see who can pull it out. I'm definitely going to wear, I've came out here at my thatch hat and all that sort of stuff before. Got a reason to pull it out again. I'm going to be doing that as well, joining in on the fun and showing my pride here. And let's do it. It's history in the making. Sponsorship opportunities, I'm sure, are still welcome. You just reach out directly to the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture if you want to sponsor this event, or maybe see how you can get involved in this history. You want your branding on any PR opportunities that you can have to show your public participation. You can actually be the turning point for the ministry as we actually celebrate for an entire month. So corporate opportunities and sponsorships are still available. Reach out to Tanissa Barnes over there at the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture to find out what other opportunities, packages, or where you can chip in. We know this is going to be a joint effort, a community effort, and we appreciate all of our corporate partners and sponsors in making events like this, national events especially, something uniquely and even more special with your participation. Then, of course, the Sunday the 3rd is a church service. Yes, that's going to take place at the John Gray Memorial Church in West Bay. And that's from 11 o'clock. And that's going to be a special service. We know what we are founded on. We know what our principles are here in the Cayman Islands. And I'm not by any means surprised that this has kicked off this whole month-long celebration with a church service. It speaks volumes as to who we are as a people. So yes, this and lots more are happening. You will be hearing more as well as the whole agenda continues to fill up their tea parties and sister islands. You're not forgotten, Cayman Brac. They're going to be doing stuff over there as well. So once we are aware and once we get it, we will definitely be sharing it all with you here on the Sabrina Speaks platform. And like I said, bring them up. You want corporate, be a part of it. they're more than happy to take any contributions and donations you may have to offer. And look, all roads lead to 349 Austin Connolly Drive. Yes, that is this weekend, this Sunday from 9 until 3. Huge yard sale, guys. Huge. Can you imagine going to a nice yard sale and walking out with something for 10 cents? You can hardly even get fudge for that if you even get it. I remember the days you could go and pick up, what, candies? Yeah, but now this is a yard sale that you can get stuff. You could possibly leave with stuff for 10 cents. And who to tell? You want a bargain? You want a bargain? Yeah, even make an offer. So from household items, kitchenware, footwear, all roads lead east on Sunday, which from 9 until 3. 349 Austin Connolly Drive, and that is across from Ocean Frontiers. If you need a landmark, that's where that location will be for the huge yard sale. All are invited to go out and see what's in store for you, and we're definitely going to keep you abreast of it as well. Once you follow my page, I will be keeping you up to date with all of what's going on. So, yep, we're going to just grabbing my flowers here as I take advantage of everything that's going on. But good evening, Harry. You were first to class today. Hello, hello, hello. You're still up. The UK's in the house. Good evening. It's good to have you here, Connie. And a love to you. I see where you were actually bussing it. Yeah, you were killing it. But you were still at work. You were still at work. I know how it goes. I was on the road today and I made sure that I had my appointments, that I was able then to get home much, much earlier so that I could produce. I can't blame once I'm home now. I have no excuse for being late. I don't have no excuse. Nope, no traffic. I can't blame it on traffic. Yes. Thank you so much still for sharing. These flowers were shared by Connie. Thank you, Connie, for sharing those. Yes. And Donnie also joined in as well. Donnie is joining us, and this is her flower of the day. Nice, beautiful orchid as well. So Dawn, this one is from Miss Dawn, and this one is from Connie, and this one is also from Connie. These are, let me tell you something. You guys go gung-ho over these orchids. Kudos for you. Thank you for sharing them as well. Means so much to me being able to share this with all of our plant lovers. It does something, I tell you, it does change the mood and make it much lighter. Yes. So there we have it to all of those. Carol, you see, Carol, what you see in my head, you went to the hair, it's this lady, Carol. The team over at Slay Beauty Bar, they keep me in line. Sometimes it's me that's the problem, but I can't take any credit for this today. I got to thank her. The woman is skilled. This is unsolicited PR for Slay Team. Yes, but Carol, you're bad. Part 2 tomorrow, right? But thank you so far. Everybody's liking it. You know, I had to do the 1-2 selfies. But the funny thing is, I got to share it with you. When I got home, exactly what I told you. The dog barked at me because he's like, who the hell is that? Who left here is not who came back. The dog barked at me. He had no clue who was standing up in the front of him. But yeah, if you listen closely, you would have heard me laugh out loud. Again, the flexibility of a woman of color. Yeah, we rock it. But thank you from the bottom of my heart for definitely stepping up to the plate and making me presentable. I don't know how long she could last, but Yep. I'll see you tomorrow as we continue. I'm going to get to these longer ones, Harry. Donnie is in the house. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jimbo. That's a good thing with me, you don't know who's coming home. Once I got an appointment with the hairstylist, Jim, you get multiple personalities. I'm a Gemini. Remember that, Jimbo. So I'm always, You get multiple versions. Crystal Gale, Halle Berry. I don't know what this one is. This is I could get you in trouble look. Yeah. They're talking about Vibes Cartel. Oh, Lord, the song that Sandra played this morning, I didn't even know what it was saying, but automatically your girl just started doing her thing. I wasn't, yep. And there wasn't no look out, she's backing up. Yeah, guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. Unapologetic. Carol, no, I'm not calling you out. Not calling no need. No, back in the day. I'm behaving now though. Andrew, happy Friday to you, my dear. Happy Friday to you. Marshall knows we got plenty of days. Oh Lord, that we're paying for my knees now. Marshall knows those days. Connie sharing the love to Cara. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And Damian Henry, another UK fan, is in the house sharing words of encouragement today. Let's see what he has in store for us. He says, Happy Friday, all. We all get so caught up in the moment of what we're doing every day. It's hard to hit the right reset button and get pulled away from all of that and see life from a different perspective. You know, Damien, that's so true. And that is why I look forward for my weekends. Yeah, I look forward for my weekends. Unapologetic. And I chart that course. Ay, ay, ay. Look at my friend. Look at my friend. Look at my friend. Am I okay to share? Am I okay to share? Tell me if I can share it. Tell me if I can share it. Look at you. Oh. Just give me a yes if I can share. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. Yes, excuse you. Yes, yes, Connie Bonnie. Jim is sharing the love, Connie, with you. Good evening, Aliano. How are you, my dear? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. Oh, we have Daisy and dandelions. That's about it. Oh, over there. Yeah, but your temperatures are so whacked. Yes. Oh my gosh. I don't know how you guys deal with it. I have a friends over there that I keep in contact with. When I was telling them the temperatures that we were having here, they're like, oh no, it's been yucky. It's been rainy. It's been this, it's been that. And I was like, okay, yeah. So I can only imagine what you guys have. Yes, that's Janet Jackson. Oh, that's what you're saying. That's Janet, Miss Jackson. That is okay. You don't want to pull the Tina Turner. I had a wacky one once where it was spiked for a while and I rocked her. Jim, one piece of trouble that got me into. Whee. You know how we do it here on a Friday. It's wind down. We get all comfortable. But yeah, and having this weekday show and other stuff that is happening in my life, thank God things are moving. I'm going to get busy. So I got to do what I got to do. And I really look forward. This is why Damian Henry's this means so much. Balance is key. So yes, yes, yes. Wake up, Cayman Islands is here as well. Happy Friday to you. Harry says, we sunbathing in 5 degrees Celsius heat. We are getting sunbirds at 8 degrees Celsius. Oh, on one of the 5 days, it's not raining. Poor you guys. Oh my goodness. Being in the UK for a short time is one thing, but in all honesty, unless it's for business, and I would even come back there to see it to visit, to play tourist. But to say live there, I'm sorry, I'm a Caribbean girl. And but kudos to all of you who actually do that. For those of you who are over there for educational purposes and you've made that sacrifice. I mean, for the connections that you all can make as well is another thing. But yeah, I couldn't see me adapting very easily by choice. If I had to, no, if I had a choice, it wouldn't be that. I welcome the cooler temperatures, but not to say that I could live it every day. Maybe you get adjusted over time. I don't know. I'm not scared of the cold, but it's the gray, gloomy days. I think that would really bother me a lot. Yes. Wake up, Cayman Islands. Say, we have freezing sunshine over here. We have freezing sunshine over here in the UK. Yeah, must be those space heaters. Try to live in the forest like me with board and deer and foxes and mud and oh my yuck. Oof. Keep it Harry, keep it, my love. You keep that all to yourself. We will send you lots of Cayman warmth, love, and sunshine, and good energies. But darling, you can keep that. Yes, but welcome, one and all, as we continue here on the Sabrina Speaks show here, because we are going to go into a section. Let me try to find where I left off now. We were going into substantial business presence. And I must say, last night I got a number of calls thanking me for explaining this. And this is 11. So that's 8. Okay, there we go. 11. Substantial business presence. Oh, no, don't be too kind. Oh, Harry, you're too kind. I won't swap with you, darling. I love you dearly, and I don't even know who the heck you are because you're hiding behind this name. But no, you can keep it. I love the virtual Harry, but you can keep it. No swapping going on. Aliano says, spend 4 months during COVID from July to September. It was bipolar, but the overall experience was good. Yeah, I must say, what interactions I did have there, I really enjoyed it. Even though it was unofficial business, in all honesty, my cousin who accompanied me, she has a total different perspective. That brute, while I was there working my tails off, she was just sending me selfies and all sorts of stuff. And I will be going back very shortly to actually see it through a regular tourist eyes. Oh, really? Okay, Harry, thank you for clarifying that. So I'm not actually calling you something that you're not, out of respect. But yeah, but I want to come back. I want to just really take it in, like do a solid week and just appreciate it outside of the eyes of being working. So yes, but I would love to. Absolutely love Seattle. When living there, but the doom and gloom of fall and winter with the gray skies, Jim is saying not for him. Summers aren't long enough there. Seattle is good. Canada, I went to Whistler. That's bordering Alaska. Did that in April. That was beautiful. It was so crisp and everything feels clean. Your skin feels refreshed and all that good stuff. And as I said, I did zip line, dirt bike, mud. Yeah. Your girl did a zip line. Can you imagine? Boy. But yeah, I'm a thrill junkie for stuff like that. I'm not a skier. I will do tubing. But I don't mind doing like the fast roller coasters and all that sort of stuff. I love stuff like that. My thing is I don't like frog, snakes, muck, mud, even though I did the dirt bike thing, weird. But outside of that, no. But I'm a thrill seeker. I would do a bungee jumping. I would jump out of a plane. Yes, even at this age, I'm just that type of person. I just don't like insects and amphibians and no, not my thing. But there you go. That's another sneak peek at a little bit more of who I am as we continue to unwrap this. But let's continue to unwrap this immigration regulations. Yes. Here's my last offer. Oh, okay. Here's my last offer. We take Little Cayman to you guys and get 1/3 of your lovely wet and get 1/3 of our lovely Oh no, to you. Oh my gosh, Harry, you're something else. Leave Little Cayman just how that is. You keep where you are. We welcome you anytime, anytime though. Aliano says the plus is the travel. Just hit up the Mediterranean location for cheap. When you can you say a nice jet too? Oh, okay, then. Okay, I will. No, that's my aim. Now that I got my life back in my hand, I'm sorry, Harry. Nope, not doing it. Little Cayman is being preserved. You know, see the legislations now they putting in place. Talking foolishness. You tried. I give you A for an effort. Anyhow, let's go as we continue to unpack this because there's about 3 more other pieces of legislation that we want to get through. We'll not get through them today, though. but I can promise you we'll tear through them next week for sure. Yeah, it's from development and all that sort of stuff, from a sustainable approach. It was a part of the news headlines day before yesterday, Harry, just in case you missed it. But it's good. It's good. Sustainable, protecting the environment, protecting everything there to try and preserve it. That's what I'm referring to. So now let's turn our attention to the middle of the screen where we talk about substantive business presence. Okay, this is a category designed for senior business leaders and entrepreneurs who play a major role here in the Cayman community. And the residency certificate substantial business presence is what this is labeled as. Now, this certificate, like I said, is for senior management role, and they're going to be able to apply for this certificate. And the filing fee for this is $1,000. To apply for this residency certificate as a person of substantial business presence, that is the filing fee. Now, if that application is approved, the applicant must pay $12,500 for the issue fee to receive that certificate. Now, this reflects, again, the seniority of the economic significance, and you will hear me repeating this for emphasis. It's the same thing with the dependents here, where it's $3,000 per dependent. There is an annual dependent fee that also is attracted for $3,000, as you can see. And also, if it needs to be updated or a variation amended for whatever reason, that will also attract a $500 processing fee. And of course, then any fees thereafter is on a prorated, if anything like that, okay? Variations are the same as we've discussed yesterday for those of you who are following and continuing to follow this through. And they too have to do an annual declaration that will attract a filing fee of $500 each year. Now, please note, again, if there are multiple job titles, that these job titles will attract the fee that one has to pay every year is the highest fee attached to the job title. So if there's multiple job titles, and let's say one is $10,000 and one job title attracts a fee of $2,000, the fee that they would have to pay is the $10,000, the higher of the two job titles. Okay. Now we see where section 12 goes on at the bottom here, business staffing plan, and that goes on very short section actually. And this is a structured document that employers and organizations outline how the company manages its workforce. You may have heard news about the Business Staffing Plan Board being given a different mandate, and that pretty much, with the exception of 2 persons, everybody else was removed. But what this actually does, just for the sake of this application, in case you don't understand what it is a structured document that is outlined how a company manages its workforce. And that also includes Caymanian recruitment, training, succession planning, and the use of work permit holders. Now, what this plan is supposed to do is that it is a key tool that is used by the WORC and Business Staffing Plan Board to ensure that the organizations is actually developing Caymanian talent, pretty much using taking responsibility of giving Caymanians the opportunity versus foreign labor. And what this section actually highlights is just what the fees are for submitting a business staffing plan, and if approved, what those are. We are hearing some information, though, that even with this new change forward, that there are some compliances that were approved or attached to a lot of the business staffing plan. Let's say scholarships where you actually sponsor someone, or you do a cash donation or a cash amount to UCCI, it appears, it is alleged that a number of these approved business plans were not in compliance with these conditions. And it's only after the foot was put down to say, look, if we're going to be here as the gatekeepers of legislation, and we're not supposed to be granting work permits for organizations who are either in breach of pension laws, not paying pension, or just outside the terms and conditions, not complying with the conditions, why are we as a board still granting work permits? You would think that the law says you need, in order to get work permits, even though you're a business staffing plan holder, these things must be adhered to. Now, if under your administration, you have highlighted that, and what you got, it is alleged removed for doing your job. That is what is alleged. More to come. We don't know. Now is the new mandate in order to not hold those accountable for who were in breach of many years. So there's a new trajectory, a new mandate coming forward so that you don't know, you don't know, you don't know. And then what happens? We don't know. Let's see. I'm only sharing with you what is out there in circulation. Hence the term alleged. But if boards and councils are there to uphold the law and gatekeep the law, and you see moves like that being made, what would be the use then of updated immigration reforms if you're going to be ousted for doing your job, if you're going to be ousted for gatekeeping? Doesn't make much sense, right? Doesn't even sound real. Where there's smoke, there's fire. We're going to keep tabs on it because at some point in time, I'm quite sure it's going to come out. Yes. So what we see here is that the fee for a business pays when it submits the business staffing plan for the first time is $350. Now, what that does, it covers WORC review for the company's staffing structure and the Caymanian development strategy and long-term workforce needs. That's just the processing fee for the submission. And what we see here is that if a business needs to update their plan, for example, adding new position, changing the organizational structure, or adjusting even training commitments, then there is an amendment fee in order to do that. And that is now $200, what we're seeing here in the business staffing plan. And of course, to the very top first line, once the business plan is approved, the company then pays $1,000 approval fee. And what this is reflecting, reflects the administrative work that is involved in evaluating the plan and ensuring that it meets the legal and policy requirements. So what business plans are all about should be accountability. And I use that should be loosely because of exactly what is being alleged right now. So business staffing plans are all about accountability and making sure that the companies who fall under it are developing Caymanian talent while responsibly managing their foreign workforce, their expatriate workforce. And these fees are very straightforward. They're not that expensive when you look at it in comparison to some of the other fees that we've cited here. $350 to submit and $200 to amend, and a simple $1,000 for approve it once the plan meets the required standards. That's all it is. That's really all it is. So let's take a look at this section that is very practical. This part may impact a lot of persons that are here. And the fees for reissuing of immigration documents, these are the charges that people face when they need, let's say, to duplicate a certificate or to amend or correct a work permit, or even replace. They're aiming now to do ID cards, right? Yes, this section is all about replacement of documents, not new applications, not renewals, but reissues. Yes. And what we see here as well is that these fees are generally modest, reflecting the administrative cost of producing a new document, right? So we're going now to section 13, which is at the top of the screen. And what we see here is if someone changes their passport number or name, for example, after a marriage or receiving a new passport, their work permit or approval letter must be updated. And in order to update that within WORC and for your records to be reflective of that, the fee to reissue the amended document is $100. So if someone has a change of their passport, let's say it was renewed, so the number changes, or a name change, for example, by deed poll or marriage, or let's say your passport was lost or damaged, whatever the case may be, you must update that. You must get those amendments reflected on your work permit because everything then would have changed. And that now, in order to do that, is going to cost you $100. What we see in 13.2, if both the work permit document and the ID cards needs to be replaced at the same time, perhaps maybe it may have been lost, damaged, then the combined replacement is $50. Yeah. You heard me right. The combined replacement, because they'll be done in like a duo. I guess for production reasons, it's cheaper to do two. It's for $50. What we're also seeing here under 13.3 is a duplicate of the right to be Caymanian. Now, if someone loses or damages their status, right to be Caymanian, in this case, it would be more than likely a letter. Be Caymanian, a duplicate is $75. Okay. If someone loses or damages their certificate of the right to be Caymanian, a duplicate can be issued for $75. So that's duplicate certificate of the right to be Caymanian is now going to attract a $75 fee. And what we see under 13.4 is a duplicate residence and employment rights certificate, RERC. The replacement for that, whether it's lost, damaged, or requires reissuing period, that's now going to attract a fee of $100. Now, a duplicate certificate of any category of permanent residence, regardless of the type of PR held, a duplicate certificate is now going to cost you $100. Same thing for substantial business presence. So the holder of this business-based residency certificate, if they need a replacement, that is now also going to be $100, and that's reflected here under 13.6. 13.7, same for a certificate replacement for direct investment. And the same $100 applies under 13.8 for a certificate for retirees as well. So duplicate for residency, a certificate for retirees, they can be obtained for $100. Now, we see under 13.9, duplicate certificate for special caregivers is what that's outlined as. This is one of the lowest replacement fees. Specialist caregivers can obtain a duplicate certificate if it's lost, damaged, or just needs to be replaced, period, is $75. And 13.10, hold on. I see you in the corner of my eye, Connie. Let me go laminate mine and put it under my mattress. Do not laminate any of these documents. That is one of the things that you're told when you get your naturalization certificate, British Overseas Registration Certificate. Do not laminate them. I know you want to protect them. It's best for you to, it makes them void. That's the reason. It makes them void. Do not laminate them. So what you want to do is get a protective sleeve and keep them in a, yes, I hope you haven't laminated yours, but yeah, they warn you about this. Don't laminate them. Get protective sleeves for them. You think you're doing yourself good when you do that, but no, you're advised not to laminate them because it makes them null and void. In the US, you can't laminate your Social Security. They're just certain documents as well. It's the same universal thing in other jurisdictions as well. So yeah, if you're thinking about that, don't do it. Just put it in a seal. Yeah, it makes them void. Some people don't want to take them. Yeah, so your best bet is don't laminate it. Now, please, that doesn't mean it's revoked. So don't go blowing a fuse. Doesn't mean it's revoked. That it all it means is that if you ever have to do something, let's say UK wise or internationally, some countries will not accept a laminated copy. So your best bet is to not laminate them at all. Just keep them in a plastic cover. So if you've laminated, you want to go down now and duplicate all of your stuff before the 1st of May, because after the 1st of May 1st and thereafter, these are the new fees that are going to hit you. So if you know you've laminated everything that you've had because you've had the experience of going through Ivan or whatever, yeah, you want to probably go and make the requisition to get them replaced if you don't want to pay the differential in fees. Okay. 1310, duplicate certificate for permanent residents, persons of independent means. If a high net worth resident under this category needs a replacement certificate, it's going to cost them $100. Yeah. And then we see where the miscellaneous fees will show up under 14. We will go into that. We'll cover small but important changes such as reentry and that as well. Good evening, my love. How are you? So yeah, we're going to just go into the miscellaneous stuff because I know a lot of you go through these things, or you have staff or persons who may be needing these and wanting to know whether or not these have changed, which is why I'm taking the opportunity to let you know line by line what these fees are going to be. So we're going to jump right now to section 14, which is on the bottom. No, last one, child. No, WhatsApper, I would be the last one. No, my sweet. Sorry. No, I don't. I have no clue. But yeah, 14 is miscellaneous. And this looks at the small but essential changes that is very important. Okay. So these are put in here now to support the day-to-day functioning of what we're seeing as an immigration system. And what is happening is that these fees apply to a wide range of administrative services. And I'm talking, as you can see here, reentry stamps, copies of documents and appeals. And, they may be small, but people need to know exactly what is going to hit them as well. So reentry stamp, this used to be $20. 14.1 here says, if someone needs a reentry stamp, usually when they're traveling while an application is pending, this fee is now going to be $50. And what this does is that this reentry stamp ensures that they're able to reenter. Pretty much that their immigration status remains valid when they return to the islands. Outside a reentry stamp, sometimes you're barred from boarding an aircraft if you don't have a valid work permit or stamped if you're on a work permit. Okay, so reentry stamps are usually for that case, or if you're pending a RERC application, or you don't have a working by operation of the law endorsement in your passport because you're either waiting on an appeal or something like that, you need to get a reentry stamp. And what you need to remember is that these reentry stamps, let's say you go and you pay your $50 and you say, I'm going to travel from the 1st of May and come back on the 15th. But they give you until the 1st of June. Once you use that reentry stamp and re-enter, and let's say you need to travel again, but will come back before June, that stamp, you would be required to get another one. It's only good for one travel. So even though you would have come back before the date on the reentry stamp, it's only good for one round trip. Okay, but make sure you come back before the date that is on that reentry stamp. Otherwise, you could be have some issues boarding a plane or gaining entry into the islands. Okay. Now, if you want to get a copy of a document, let's say an applicant needs an official copy of an immigration document, copies are $20. And this, again, is merely to cover certified administrative copies issued by work. Yes, my dear. So 14.3 is a fee for appeal to the WORC board. You know, some appeals go to the appeals tribunal. And if you get a refusal of something, you may need an appeal then to be dealt with to the work permit board. Okay. These appeals will now cost you $100. So if someone disagrees with the decision made by a WORC officer, because they can be dealt with administratively or by a board, you can appeal that decision. If you're not satisfied with a decision that was made by an administrator, you can appeal that decision to the board. And the filing fee for that appeal is now going to cost you $100. Now, appealing to the Immigration Appeals Tribunal now, this one is a bummer. This one is a big one. This is the highest fee in the miscellaneous category, period. And appealing to the tribunal is a more formal quasi-judicial process, meaning you're not going to the courts, you're going to a middleman. And that is now going to have a filing fee alone of $3,000. And what they're saying is that this reflects the complexity and the administrative costs of that level of review. So it is alleged that a lot of people knew that they wouldn't win an appeal, let's say if they weren't approved permanent residents for being here a long time. But because the backlog was so long, they felt that if they got it, fine, they would be happy, it's worth it. But if they could buy themselves a bit more time, why not appeal? Why not? It beats going home, right? It gives you an opportunity to work as well, but you have the right. The thing is, in the law, you have the right of appeal if you're dissatisfied with the decision. But now it's coming with a fee of $3,000 and no longer $1,000. So this, my friends, has gone up by 200%. So if you're aggrieved, dissatisfied of a decision, the appeal is now $3,000 just to submit it. Now, during the course of that, the rights to work is a total different process, okay? This is just to get the wheels going. That's the administrative cost payable to government, right? 14.5, we see where now this is saying a fee for registration of a job on the WORC electronic portal. Remember, once upon a time, they said that was for what, $25? Yeah. Employers can register now job vacancies on WORC Jobs Cayman portal at no cost. So that was a change versus what was in the draft. And what this is that they're saying this now supports transparency in the labor market and ensures Caymanians have free access to job listing. So right now, in order to post on that, it is nil. Okay? So you're seeing where that is free under 14.5. 5. As we continue to go down now to, want to make sure I catch my bearings here. 15. Yeah, let's go into 15. And 15 is speaking about the business visitors part of it. Yes. And this is a category that affects short-term business travel right here in the Cayman Islands and usually down at the airport. Yeah. This is designed for persons who just needs to enter briefly to conduct business activities without taking up employment here, but needs to, when they're on the ground, to actually do business, to transact business. And quasi make that the word of the day. Google it. Yeah, Thank you, Wake Up. Now, it covers things like meetings, site visits, training, or even short-term professional engagement. Maybe you're a sales rep, that sort of stuff. Yeah, that is what this is for. And the fees vary depending on the type of work the visitor would be doing, if they're employed locally, and whether the applicant wants express processing as well. What we're seeing here under this section for business visitors, which is at the bottom of the screen, is that this is a standard application for business visitors, and that's $500. Okay. Now, Express determines based on the amount of the occupation. So there's just not one set fee. It depends on the category of the occupation. So once it's approved, again, it depends on the occupation category. And let me tell you something, those different categories are huge, but that's what you need to remember about that. And what happens under this section of 15.4 is that it just goes into a lot of other things, which is further on, which we will scroll through that for expediency in just getting through this, because it is a number of occupations that are listed there, okay? We see where the categories A now, for you, we can see here that we will have occupations, let's say, for example, 10,401 to 32,400. They have different fees of like $750 a visit. You notice Cayman and Little Cayman are a little less. And then for express fees, they have 400, 350, and 250 as well for express fees. So we will notice in all of the fees that Cayman and Little Cayman are much lower than those over here in Grand Cayman. So that's something that you need to actually be aware of as well, because it does make a difference. And then we see where category B, occupation with annual work permit fee, 2,001 to 10,400. In Grand Cayman, we see where it's $375 per visit. Express fee, $350. Cayman and Little Cayman, $281.25 and $350 for that. So you have the three categories based on their occupation of work and the range of their work permits going from highest to lowest. And the lowest one, any work permits with a job title, $2,100 or less. In Grand Cayman, it's $150 per visit, an express of $250. And BRAC and Little Cayman, we're seeing where it's going to be $112.50 and $250 as well for the express fees. So business visitors permits are structured typically around the type of work the visitor will be doing while they're here, employed locally with, as we've outlined, the higher skilled occupation reflecting a more per visit, and which is similar to what we said for the different work permits. And remember with PR as well, those occupations. So that is exactly what that is going for. We know a lot of you use the temporary work permit system, and we will just be going through here in section 16. And these are used for short-term employment needs, anything from a few weeks to several months. And this will allow businesses to fill urgent or seasonal gaps while still complying with the Cayman labor and immigration laws. Now, again, these fees are also structured around work permit fees that would apply to the occupation. So you're going to see a similar thing here happening where it keeps the system consistent. And what we see then here with the temporary work permit fees is that the application fee depends on the annual work permit fee. So based on the occupation. So if the annual work permit fee is $2,001 or less, then it's going to be $150. If the annual work permit fee is between $2,101 and $10,400, we see then a fee of $250. If the annual fee for more than $10,400, then we see the filing fee now going to $500. Pretty much reflective as to what we saw in the other area. For an application under 16.2 for an extension on a temporary work permit, the extension fees again mirror the initial application fee. Same thing. Where the occupation attracts a fee of $2,100 or less, you're going to see $150 being the fee for the extension. $250 will be the fee if it is $2,001 to $10,400, and $500 if the annual fee of the work permit attracts $10,400. So again, if you have to do a variation on a temporary work permit, under the temporary work permit and business visitors permit regulation of 2024 revision, again, the fee depends on the actual work permit. And this ranges from $150 to $500. And in layman's terms, a variation is sometimes needed when someone needs to have changes such as employment details, duties, or even the start date, and even other conditions. So again, the fee is consistent with similar what you are used to paying, just that they're now a little higher for temporary work permits, okay? What was said is that the work permit fees themselves were untouched. What has increased are the filing fees, okay? Which is why you got to know these processing fees, because a number may be stuck in your head. That is no more come May 1st and beyond. What we see under 16.4, grant of a temporary work permit, again, these grant fees, cost actually to issue the work permit is not listed here for the same reason, because it appears under the other section that aligns then with the specified occupation. So I'm just making sure that I'm covering everything here, and the same thing applies for the extension. When we see now under section 16.6, dependent fees for temporary work permits, this is now attracting a fee of $250 per dependent. So if a worker includes a dependent on a temporary work permit or adds one later, the fee is $250 per dependent for each temporary work permit or even the extension. So what you're seeing is that temporary work permits are also following a simple structure. The application, the extension, the variation fees, all scaled within the same range of the annual work permit fee for the job, the actual grant, and the extension fees as well will be shown as we go along to explain this further. We see where the seasonal workers as well, fees have had some changes, but again, this category is designed for industries that rely on short-term peak season labor. More you see that in the tourism, hospitality, sometimes for a specific job in the construction as well, and maybe agriculture and events as well, okay? And the key difference here is that the seasonal permits cannot be extended or renewed. I bet you didn't know that. Yeah. Seasonal work permits cannot be extended or renewed. And the grant fee is calculated differently from the standard work permits. So please allow me to break that down under section 17. What we see is the very last one on the bottom of the page before I go to page 17 is that this now, the application fees depend on the annual work permit fee, with the first fee being $150, and that is if it is a work permit fee of $2,100 or less. And then what we see is that if it's a little bit more, 2001 to 10,400, it's $250. And then a $500 fee is applicable to those who are $10,000 or more, 10,400 or more. Okay. So these are your seasonal work permits. So the cost again applies to the seasonal work permit. It mirrors the same or similar fee structure used in the standard work permit based on the annual work permit fee. And we see the same if you have to amend it, if you have to vary, if something changes. What we're seeing, it ranges from $150 to $500 for those. Under 17.3, whatever that annual work permit fee would be for that occupation, again, sometimes the grant fee, the cost to actually issue the work permit is not a flat number because it's calculated using a special formula. Okay, 66%, the grant fee is 66% of the relevant annual work permit fee. Yeah, how they come up with that, I don't know, but it is an awkward thing. So I suggest if you have to go through this, you just go either with an open check or be prepared by debit card that they can break it down for you if you find yourself in this position. But normally what we see is that the grant fee is equivalent to 66% of the relevant annual work permit fee. So whatever the work permit fee would be for that occupation, the seasonal work permit fee costs 2/3 of that amount. One would say, well, for easy math, why didn't you just do 50%? Don't ask me. I'm just delivering it. Okay. 17.4 would be easier for the head, wouldn't it? 17.4, it goes into the dependents, including dependents as well. If you have to add one, then it's $250. So yeah. So what, again, for emphasis, a seasonal work permit lasts 8 months. The key takeaway here is that it cannot be extended or renewed. And if the employer needs the worker again, the employer must submit a new application. Now, this ensures that seasonal work permits remain truly seasonal and do not become long-term work arrangements. That's what is envisaged from there. So I hope that you're able to get that, but this is more like the hospitality industry. You know, Capella is here. You got another big one that's coming. Sometimes business visitors work permit work for these people. Sometimes it may be a seasonal thing for 8 months. If you know you're going to have multiple events in that 8-month span, maybe it may work out better for these promoters to do a seasonal work permit with justification. Who to tell? If you never thought of it before, maybe you might want to look at that category. If you are one of these promoters and you know you're going to be using the same people over again, it may be a good time for you to consider seasonal, because a lot of people don't think about it in the hospitality industry, but events as well could be a case where if you're a promoter and the person needs to come back and help you do stuff, lighting, I don't know, but you may want to check out the offerings under the seasonal worker permit section. Miss Juliet Solis says, fall indeed is my favorite season, even though we really don't have it here. Yeah, it's true. True. Preparing for the holidays. Denver's in the house. How you doing, Trouble? He says that temporary work permit needs to be eliminated with the exception of very few instances, which really requires one to work here. business people coming in here for meetings, trainings, especially doctors doing quarterly visits, special mechanics for certain car dealers, certain lawyers, professional people needed in many areas, limited to no more than 30 days unless under certain circumstances. Well, they do have the business visitors for that as well. But I see what you're saying. And this is something that they're encouraging. And remember now, Denver, because 1 year work permits are going straight to the 1 year board was just taking so long that sometimes people could not wait. And you pay your difference in your express fees for the issuance of a temporary work permit and you got them working. So maybe if there were more processes where grant work permits applications or any applications going to the board were a bit quicker, you would see less of these applications for temporary, or temporaries only be used for temporary purposes. Temporaries were never, ever designed for you to then transition into a 1 year work permit or to be used as a phase to do somebody through probation period. They were really designed for once that temporary is over, you're out of here, buddy. But then because the boards were taking so long that people just couldn't wait 3, 4, 5 months, businesses were being impacted if they had done the whole hoops and hurdles and making sure that they couldn't find a resident or a Caymanian to fill the role, or for specialist cases, they just couldn't wait. So yeah, I'm hoping now with what is envisaged, what is stated publicly, that they're planning on improving the processes as to how quickly these applications are now processed, and that they're in the process of also dealing with some of the outdated and longstanding backlogs, that you will see temporaries being used for exactly why they came about in the first place in the near future. Wake Up says, say if extensions time can accumulation, and how much extensions is allowed? Only one extension. For which one? Temporaries? Only one extension. One extension for the same employer. So you do the temporary and then one extension, not exceeding 12 months. I've seen people who have done back-to-back extensions, but in between those extensions, they've had multiple employers. So let's say you do a 6 months bout for one employer, then you change for whatever reason, you go to another employer and you're on another temporary. Yeah. So, but it's only one extension, not exceeding a combined period of 6 months. So I hope, Wake Up, that answers your question there. Understood. However, it's been a loophole for far too long. It's only been a loophole because people weren't getting pace. There were no pace at spitting out the decisions of these work permits any faster. So people just went straight to the work permit board. Yeah, that has been an issue, a longstanding issue for years. And now we're seeing demand on temporaries that even when you pay for express fees, you're not getting the turnaround times as allotted. So you're paying express fees and sometimes waiting longer. And that is something as well that's been embedded into another law piece of regulations that we're going to discuss next week, that gives you definitive timelines of how long an application should take to be processed if you're requesting an express. And it goes into exactly refunds as well. So I'll break that down a little bit more for you in another episode. So yeah, I can see them putting these in laws, and we have to be careful, because careful in the sense where if you're making it into law and you are not performing at the standard or in the time, in the parameters that are embedded in the law for whatever reason, that government agency can now be challenged. You get what I'm saying? So if they say, we're going to give you a decision in 7 business days, and it takes 14, 30 days, they can be challenged. So we'll dissect it a little bit more so you understand. So things that are now being embedded in legislation and cited in regulations, government is opening themselves up to now being challenged if they're not able to spit out decisions. I'm not saying a yes. a decision within the time frame. And that's the same thing when it comes to refunds, is what I'm seeing. Yeah. So keep your fingers crossed, but I'm hoping that at the end of the day that the processes, in order for them to be performing at the pace in which the law now is being embedded, that they're not opening themselves up to being challenged and having to be paying out more damages because the laws are going faster than what we're doing the processes in order to churn them out. That's just common sense conversation. Now let's take a look at a category that plays a big role right here in nightlife, events, festivals, and even the hospitality. What I'm talking about is the hospitality sector. And this is the temporary work permits for entertainers. Now, this permit covers musicians, DJs, performers, stage artists, big talk now, and other entertainment professionals who come to the Cayman Islands for short-term engagements. And what these structures are showing here, because it includes express processing options and detailed fee table that is actually included here is outlined. It makes it quite clear for what the annual work permit fee for entertainers occupations is going to be applicable. So that is under 18.1. For the grant of a temporary work permit for an entertainer is $250 for a temporary work permit fee, right? This fee, this $250 applies to temporary work permit for especially for entertainers. This is a flat fee. Unlike other categories, it does not scale to what annual work permit fees would be. And for the application, sorry, I correct me there, $250 for the filing fee. Now, if it is granted, the grant fee, the cost to actually issue the work permit depends on the entertainer's occupation category. And there is a table that they have provided here under 18.2, which was be 18.5. And I will get down there, okay? If the actual entertainer's work permit has to be amended, varied, it is $250. So let's say it needs to be updated, change of venues, change of employers, or performance details. That is now going to attract a variation fee of $250. They have dependents too. 18.4 actually says here that if the entertainer includes a dependent or adds one after it is granted, that also attracts a fee, and that fee is now $250. Now, the grant fee for a temporary work permit for up to 90 days, there is an express processing fee. And of course, you see where these are reduced should they be performing in the sister islands, Cayman and Little Cayman. And there's a special rule for permits lasting 91 to 180 days. Okay. So the rule for 91 to 180 days permits is that the fee would then be 50% of what a regular work permit fee would be if that is the case. All right. So what we see is that annual work permit fee, $375 or less. If they're in Grand Cayman, the fee of up to 90 days is $100. Express for that is $300. In Cayman Brac, it's $75 for up to 90 days. And the Express is for $300. Category B now actually shows where the work permit fee is $376 to $875. We see where up to 90 days is $200. Express fees $450. Cayman Brac $150 to $450. Again, this covers mid-range. And you have these different categories, C, which is to the bottom, where annual work permit fees are $860 to $2,100. Express fee is $600. But again, the fee is $300. And then the BRAC is $225 for up to 90 days, and express fee of $600. What we see then in the D category, annual work permit fee of over 10,000 or up to 10,400, up to 90 days, 750, express fee is 750. So it's the same. Cayman and Little Cayman, the up to 90 days is $563 and $750 for the express fee. Then it goes down to E. You have work permit fees that goes as high as $32,400, you know. If they fall under the category of that attracts a fee of $10,400 to $32,400, then in Grand Cayman, it's $1,500 and an express fee of $900. In Cayman Brac, it's $1,125 and $900 for the express fee. Now, what we need to note is that this tier is top tier for major performers, headline acts, and high-value entertainment professionals, okay? And what is important to note is that dependent fee is CI $250 for dependent for all temporary work permits, regardless of the duration. So for all the concerts that are coming on here, entertainers permit follows a structured tier in here, as we're explaining. It's a flat application fee. And we see where the occupation grant fees and express processing options for urgent bookings, right? So whether it's a DJ flying in for a weekend or a band performing for a season, the fee that is outlined here is a structured scale based on the level of entertainment that they will be actually doing. Denver say, so there should be no work permit for musical entertainment in hotels. Far too many Caymanians here that can do that. And we have Victoria Wheaton here, who specializes in recruiting Caymanian musicians in all categories of music. Continuing with the comments. Like I said last night, all permits are actually temporary or should be, because a Caymanian should be training for that job, even if it takes years to find Caymanian. Permanency blocks Caymanians, wake up, further commented. Now let's turn our attention as we go down then to the work permit grant, because a lot of you transition and you've been hearing, well, why do you have to go through the temporary? What's up with the work permits? Remember, a lot of these fees that have been changing here are the processing fees. The work permit fees based on the occupation, what we have been told, remains unchanged. So this is the standard work permit employers use, everyone who knows what I'm talking about, for need a worker for a full year or 2 years or 3 years, right? It is the backbone that's causing so much trouble, but also saving grace for many businesses as well. But it is the backbones of Cayman labor immigration framework, and the fees are structured to reflect the occupation, the skill level, and the administrative work they say that is involved in processing these. So here we go. 19. The application fee depends on the annual work permit fee. So the filing fee depends on how expensive the 1 year, the actual occupation is. So if the occupation, if the job title has a work permit fee of $2,100 or less, your filing fee now for submitting that work permit grant is going to be $150. If the annual fee is $2,101 to $10,400, anything between that, your filing fee now is $250. And if the fee for the annual work permit is $10,000 or more, the submission filing fee is now going to be $500. So this is the fee just to apply. It's not to receive the permit. And you can see what I've said here. Higher skilled or higher earning occupations pay higher application fee. So $150 or $250 or $500 are now the submission application fees for work permit grant applications. What we're seeing now is, again, that the grant of these work permits, those have remained based on the occupational list, and we were told that they have remained unchanged, okay? Now, if someone under 19.3 changes their employer details, duties, hours, location, or needs a variation, the fee mirrors the application fee. So it's the same. If you need to do a work permit amendment, whatever you paid for the filing fee for thing, it's going to be the same. So $150 if your work permit fee is $2,100 or less, or if it's between $2,001 and $10,400, it's now for an amendment to a work permit, $250. And it's the same thing to amend it if you're in the higher category, $500. Okay, that is to amend a variation of a work permit. So variation costs the same as the initial application because they require similar administrative processes. What we're seeing under 19.4 as it pertains to the dependents, if a worker includes a dependent or dependents on their work permit, the annual fee is, again, based on the annual work permit cost, $350 per dependent if it's $2,001 or less, $525 per dependent if you're making if your work permit costs between $2,100 and $10,400, and it's $750 per dependent if your work permit attracts a fee of $10,400 or more. So dependence increases the cost of the work permit. That's important for you to know. And that the fee scale, again, aligns with the occupation of the annual work permit fee, just in case you didn't realize that now. There is a non-repatriation fee. This bond, that's $250. This fee is required for every worker and each dependent, and it helps to cover the cost of repatriation if needed. That is the reason for that. Now, I've heard some utterance out there that says that needs to be increased. Which plane ticket you can get right now that can take you off of here for $250? So do you think that that makes sense? Or should it go back based on the region in which your nationality is coming from, where it kind of hits a sweet spot, but what's $250? So right now, that is $250. We see where 19.6 now is included, a non-refundable work permit identification card fee. That is $50. So every work permit holder is going to receive an ID card, and the fee to issue that card is $50. Now, we heard in some of the debates made by the opposition, Mr. Roy McTaggart to be specific, he says, well, what if the work permit is refused? Would that be a part of the fee that is refunded? Because the card would not have been issued if the work permit was refused. And unanimously, they agreed that his contribution was sound. So should your work permit be denied, this would be a fee now that would be refundable, okay? What we're seeing now for the ID card, same thing with multiple occupations for us to be aware of. You pay the higher of the two. So that's something that you need to be wary of. And same thing with variation. If a new occupation is higher, the annual fee, if you're varying it midway through an application that has already been, or a work permit that has already been approved, you pay only the difference until the next anniversary date. After that, persons will then pay the full fee. What we see now, express temporary work permit refund rule. Thought this was in another one. In the notes, this is good for us to explain here. If an express work permit, temporary work permit application is not decided on within 2 business days, I thought this was another piece. So see, we covering it today. If an express temporary work permit application is not decided within 2 business days, the express fee must be refunded unless additional review is required. Now, if extra time is actually needed, if extra review is needed due to legal or administrative obligations, WORC must notify the applicant within the 2-day window, and a no refund is then required. So I want you to see what I was saying before, that they have to make a decision or give you an answer within 2 business days. Good evening, caller. What's on your mind?
I just called you, quick, but laugh out loud. What you say? Repatriation fee for $250. Where they got repatriate them from? A bit of Brock or what?
Must be. It says it's to assist in the repatriation. So
I think their tickets might be that or nearly that or more. I don't know nowhere else. One time we wanted to go to Tampa and it wasn't even, and we wanted $800 for a ticket. $800. What's that?
yeah,
And it gonna be more. I wasn't listening too much because of feeding my husband, but when I hear it, I say repatriation fee for $250 way and get ticket to that, maybe to Little Cayman or Cayman Rock.
but people were complaining about the processing time and how long it takes. So we're covering that section now because, like I said, these are things that are now embedded in the regulations, and people, if they don't adhere to these times,
we're gonna get a new America here. We gotta change the name. This they call handle foreign, and they call the US big foreign, but we gonna have to call this big foreign from now on because, like Jimbo say, I agree. I wish I would buy him. I would shake his hand 2 million times. Only people gonna be able to live here, the rich and the famous.
well,
We gonna dead.
we asked for reform, and this is the revenue stream for it, and this is why I'm going through it line by line.
They want it changed,
Yeah.
so they not want to get
Well, they're
change. They get dollars, they get coins, they get everything. So
But these
live
are the
with it.
fees.
It's too bad.
These-
It's too bad that we all gotta live with it.
Mhm.
Who did it or whoever did it, that's the bad part. That's when it hurts. That's when it rub into the skin come off. That's when it burns.
Mhm. Well, there we have it.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Anyway,
All the best. Have a good weekend.
yes, ma'am.
Yes. All the
You
best.
too.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Denver is saying, is it a strategic misalignment in our employment in Cayman, whereas people who have skipped and here from a job to job for as long as they were here until to get their status are now turned down just like their own other indigenous Caymanians? Well, what do you mean? Skipping from job to job? There could be reasons why they've done that. They could have upskilled themselves and gone higher up because they're not barred from even studying while here. So I don't understand. Mr. Denver, I really don't understand that one. Because once they have reached their eligibility time to apply for a PR in accordance to our laws that we've written and passed, whether or not they had 300 employers, as long as it was done legally, they are eligible to apply under a different section to remain and reside permanently. So I need a little bit more context for where you're coming from that angle, if you don't mind, please. Mr. Dean is saying, if I was in government, no class of work permit would be less than $15,000. Oh my goodness. You know what you would be doing to many Caymanian owners then, Dean? If you were an employer, do you know? You know what you would be doing? Mm-hmm. Good question, caller. It should be $5,000 to $6,000. That is in regards to the repatriation, as Ms. Shalma was alluding to. Okay. Yeah, I think $250 is a joke, to be honest with you. That should have been amended a long time ago. What we're saying now, we're talking about the refunds. We covered temporary refund rule. If an express temporary work permit application is not decided on within 2 business days, the express fee must be refunded unless additional review is required. Okay? Going for the express annual work permit refund rule. If an express annual work permit application is not decided within 14 business days, the express fee must be refunded unless additional review is required. Again, WORC must notify the applicant within the 14-day window if extra review is needed. So you see where the same guarantee applies to annual work permits, but with a longer review window. So temporaries are a little shorter. Annual work permits are within 14 days. So what we're seeing here, annual work permit system is structured, whether you agree with it or not. It's predictable and it's tiered directly to an occupation. And it's clear with the rules for dependence, variations, repatriation fees, and even express processing is guaranteed. And this is the backbone of the Cayman's labor immigration framework. But I'm getting a sentiment that you all are agreeing that the repatriation bond part of it should be a bit more. $250 is laughable. After they got status, they can no longer get a job. Huh? After they get status. Oh, you mean the people. Okay. I see. They're treated just like Caymanians. Oh, okay. I got you now. Yeah. So you got them that they don't even want to. But that speaks a lot about our culture in the employment sphere, not the Caymanian 345 culture. We're talking about what's happening in the human resources thing. It's as though being Caymanian is a negative when it comes to getting a job. Because if you are okay when you're on a work permit, when you're on a PR, that you are hand in gloved and you can get a job anywhere. But once you become a Caymanian status holder, you're being treated like the indigenous people, Denver, is what I'm getting. Yeah, that speaks a lot about our environment. I don't want to mix up culture. That speaks about the employment environment much louder than anything else. Now let's talk about the work permit renewal. This part is pretty much straightforward. Again, we're seeing where the renewals are now attracting a fee of $150, $250, and $500 just to submit the application if it's in the higher fee, similar to the grant. So the filing fees are the same. $150, $250, $500 are the new fees now, and it's based on the occupation type. Same thing with the variation. If you have to amend a renewal, $150, $250, or $500 for variation. And then what we're seeing, if a worker includes a dependent, again, $350 per dependent, $525 per dependent based on the work permit fee that it's attracting. And for the record, I'm down on 4, and $750 per dependent, going on to $525. And unlike the initial grant, there is no $250 repatriation fee required at a renewal stage. I think everybody knows that. And this is one of the key differences with a renewal, okay? What we see is that non-refundable work permit identification card. Every renewed work permit requires a new ID, and the fee is to issue that card for the renewal, which they're saying that one is not refundable. It's only if it is refused. What we're seeing, same concept, multiple occupations, you pay the higher fee, similar. And if you have to vary it after it's granted, $150. So that is something that you need to think about. And what we're talking about, annual work permit express determination fees, what we see here under 20 subsection 7, which is in the middle of the screen, you can express a 1 year now, grant renewal. $375 or less, $100 for the express fee. 3 annual work permit fee range, $376 to $875, $150. And it goes down to as much as $300. So express processing is optional. And the fee scales within these occupations are based on the annual work permit fees, okay? So that's under 20 subsection 7 before we go and run on into 21. And 21 section is based on the spouse's term limit, government employment, or operation by law. Do you have the WORC? Now, this category is very narrow, but very important because it covers persons who are not applying for a standard work permit, but whose right to work here is tied to another person or legal status. Maybe you may be married to someone who's still got time left in their term limit, or being employed directly by the Cayman Islands government, being allowed to work on automatic under another person. And we're seeing where those fees now are quite similar, $150, $250, and also $500 for submission. And again, the fees remains the same based on the work permit fees that is determined then by your occupation. Now, the WO, working by operation of the law, which is 22, is for those who are specialized categories in the immigration system and requires the ability to work by operation of the law. And these are people who are legally entitled to work because they hold a traditional work permit before, but because another provision of the law automatically grants them the right to work. Even if they allowed, there's still fees associated with this WORL, and the filing fee for WORL is $150, $250, and $500. Now, these are just to apply. And for the applications, quite similar to the other sections, and then you pay 50% of whatever the work permit fee is for the annual fee, okay? And the same thing with dependents, $250, $500 per dependent. And what we are seeing here, one very important thing on the WOL is that dependents must have been previously approved on the last work permit to be added to a working by operation of the law application. They cannot come on after the fact. No. Now, the permission to continue to working while you're waiting on PR is the same thing. The $150, $250, $500, and the same thing with the annual fees. The fees are pretty much straightforward there. But I wanted to take you to the exemption of work permit fees as we wrap up this section. In addition to persons or children or young persons under 18, there are people who do not pay work permit fees, and we said that at the beginning. And we said that for persons who are spouse or civil partners of Caymanians, surviving spouse or civil partners or Caymanians, employees of the government. So government contracted workers do not pay these fees. Persons who are also declared exempt by cabinet, you notice that you would hear those, a lot of them are people who are under political asylum. And we see where persons are exempted from these fees also are persons working for the monetary authority, persons working for a registered nonprofit, employees of HSA, employees of the university college, and person exempted from repatriation fees and dependents as well. So these are the following groups don't pay that. These these bonds, and these are persons who, one, government employees again, including teachers licensed by the Educational Council, ministers of religion, SEMA employees, HSA employees, and UCCI. Yes. So these groups are exempted from additional fees that normally apply to work permit holders and their dependents. Now, what we see is that there is a 6-month rule for work permit fees. If a work permit is granted or renewed for 6 months or less, only 50% of the annual fees applicable. So if the employee worked 6 months or less, up to half of that annual fee may be refunded. Now, if the worker worked for more than 6 months, no refund will be given. So it's not a prorated basis. And what we're seeing, if an express temporary work permit decision is not ready within 48 hours, the express fee must be refunded. And the exception is if additional review is required, the refund does not apply. I'm just making it clear. If the temporary work permit was issued for less than 90 days, there is no fee extended up to 90 days. Now, if extended beyond 90 days, a fee equal to half of whatever the annual work permit fee would then apply. And again, refunds for special caregivers, refund requests must allow, that is under 5. I'm trying to get through this as quickly as I can. For these special caregivers under 67, refunds requests follow the same rules under the Caymanian Protection Act, as we stated earlier on. So wherever the regulation says fee varies, you must refer to the annual work permit fees in the schedule if you're picking this up for the first time, okay? I wanted to just jump down to a part where it says who pays work permit fees and who doesn't pay repatriation fees, because the rules around refunds and express processing and all these short terms is the final piece of the work permit framework, trying to gather everything to cover under this B. And what we see here is that the schedule of the annual work permit fees, every occupation is specific. And what we see is that category B focuses on tourism, service industry, and all of that sort of stuff. Now, all of these things play a very big role, because we noticed that in the tourism industry, there's a different category of people. And because we're running out of time, I wanted to go to this part here. And I'm almost done, come to think of it. This is the special economic zone part, because a lot of all of these things here, these are the work permit fees, and those are just too long. I could be honest with you. So I'm skipping a lot of pages here just to get to the end, because the hospitality industry has their own set of fees, and I can wrap that up. But I promised you guys that I would have shared with you, because this is a change big enough that if you don't understand what it's doing here, I think you could you could just hear the wrong thing. And I'm going to part 3, Cayman Enterprise City and Developer and Enterprises, right? Now we see this is a complete different fee structure designed for the special economic zone. And it has developer of Cayman Enterprise City, any special economic zone operating under the CEC and their employees. And what it does is that anyone who's in this zone are exempted from all standard work permit fees. They don't pay no work permit fees, what at all. No annual work permit fees, no application fees, no variation fees, no dependent fees. All they're paying right now with this as of the 1st of May is one flat fee of $1,230 per employee. So every employee in the Cayman Enterprise City, whether they work for a zone developer or a zone company, is covered by one single simplified annual fee of $1,230. Now I have to stick there because Authentic is back on with his new season, but this is very quick and we can wrap this up at the opening of Monday's episode. We will keep it locked there. But right now, anyone in the special economic zone is one flat fee. Some of you said that's a concession. How are we expecting to pay bills? Stick a pin. Stick a pin. We'll explain it more on Monday. It was a pleasure bringing you the continued episode of Sabrina Speaks as we continue to dive into the immigration regulations, the Caymanian Protection regulations that are coming into force on May 1st. And we will continue to educate, break it down line by line on Monday as we conclude this one of 4 and enter into the other ones. Please do have a safe weekend. God bless. Love you lots. Thank you for your following. And please click the notification bell so you don't miss an episode. And please follow, like, and subscribe so you don't miss another episode. Have a safe weekend. Good night. God bless.
That's a wrap for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks. Thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation. Remember, the dialogue doesn't stop here. Stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time, same place, right here on CMR TV and radio, where your voice matters and your truth is heard. Until then, Cayman, take care of yourself and each other.
That's it for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks, where your voice matters, your story counts, and your truth is always welcome. Join us weekdays from 5 until 6:30 p.m. right here on CMR TV as we dive into the topics that matter most to you. Catch the show live or on demand at cmrtv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss a moment. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always speak your truth.